When skateboarding first started out, all skaters really needed was their board, a pair of really short shorts, and maybe a pair of shoes, and that was pretty much it. As time went on and skateboarding developed, more and more skateboarding accessories came out that either made skateboarding easier or just more enjoyable to do. Now, even though there are a lot of things out there that you can buy that make skateboarding even better than it already is, there's also a ton of stuff that's pretty much a complete waste of money. In this video, we're gonna go over skateboarding accessories that absolutely no one should buy. Over the years, I've just seen way too many kids waste their money on stupid skateboard attachments that they didn't really need, so I felt like it was almost my civic duty to make a video on it. If you have any of your own recommendations, go ahead and drop them in the comments. Be sure to leave a like on the video, check out my second channel linked in the description, and with that said, let's get right into it. So the first item on the list is a cheap flat bar. Now, without naming names, let's just say there's a few companies out there that make really cheap flat bars that are pretty much designed to finesse new skaters out of their money. These flat bars might have a few good reviews on Amazon from parents who don't know any better, and they might even hold up pretty well for the first few months, but I promise you, pretty much any flat bar under $200 isn't going to last in the long run. These kinds of flat bars either slide around when you skate them, they eventually start to bend in the middle, or they just get super wobbly over time. Don't get me wrong, they can be good when you're first learning since you're probably only going to be doing board slides anyway, but for an extra $100 or so, you can get a rail that's way better and will last you for years. I always recommend Transformer rails. That's what I have, and I can honestly say they're the best pre-made rails I've skated. They're heavier than most other rails, so they don't slide around as much. You can flip it around to skate it different ways, and they're also just a lot more sturdy. Next up, we have a bearing cleaning kit. So I'll just say that I've been skating for over 10 years now, and in that time frame, I think I might have cleaned my bearings once when I was about 14, but I haven't done it since, and they've always worked just fine for me. Now, I'm not saying that bearing cleaning kits don't clean your bearings, because honestly, I'm sure they probably do. I just find it hard to believe that cleaning your bearings makes that much of a difference, and even if it does, you can most likely clean them just as good with things that you already have. I'm sure that to a certain extent, it is satisfying to have some nice clean bearings, but I really don't think it makes them any better from a functionality standpoint, so to me, it's kind of a waste of money. Most bearing cleaning kits are only $10 to $15, which isn't terrible, but considering a new pack of Bones Reds is around the same price, I just feel like you'd be better off buying a new set than spending the time and money on a cleaning kit. If you want to do it just for the experience, then by all means go for it, but just know that it's not going to make that big of a difference. Number 3 on the list are skate trainers. Skate trainers are basically these pieces of rubber meant to go around your wheels to help you practice skating flat ground without the board moving. At first, it seems like it could be a good product, and I understand the appeal, but honestly, I feel like most people would be better off without them. If you're not comfortable enough on a skateboard to learn tricks moving, or even just stand on a board stationary, then you probably shouldn't be worrying about learning flat ground tricks in the first place. If you ask me, trying to learn how to do flat ground tricks on a skateboard before you can comfortably ride around is a lot like not knowing how to ride a bike and immediately trying to learn how to bunny hop. It makes way more sense to get comfortable riding a board and just cruising around before you start to try to do tricks. Also, if you really don't want to wait that long and you just want to start practicing flat ground tricks without moving, then you can easily just cut a hole in some old tennis balls and it pretty much does the same thing. The fourth thing that no skater should buy is grip tape cleaner. If you ask me, this is probably one of the most useless skateboarding accessories you can buy, but if you disagree or if you think there's something that's worse, then definitely let me know in the comments. In the past, I used to love grip tape cleaner because I would skate a lot of dusty spots and I liked having clean grip tape, but I've come to realize that 99% of the time, you don't really need it. Most of the time, dirty grip tape works just as good as clean grip tape. The only difference is that it doesn't look as good. Now, if for some reason your board gets completely submerged in dirt, then maybe you might want to use grip cleaner, but honestly, even then, I feel like it doesn't make that much of a difference. Every time I've ever used grip tape cleaner, I've only noticed a difference in the way that my board looks, but I've never noticed a difference in the way that my board skates. For number 5, we have shock pads. Shock pads are pretty similar to riser pads. They're both supposed to give you a bigger gap between your board and your wheels, which can help prevent getting wheel bite when you're skating. The difference is shock pads tend to be softer, and they're also supposed to help reduce impact to your board. The problem that I have with shock pads isn't that they give you a bigger wheel gap, because that's definitely true. It's more so with the idea that they'll actually affect the impact of your board, which I feel like is mostly just a gimmick. When I first started skating, I tried using some shock pads, and even back then, I didn't really notice a difference when it came to impact. Even a lot of pros who are known for jumping down big gaps don't use shock pads, which to me is a prime example of how they don't work. If shock pads actually helped absorb impact, then there would definitely be more pros who use them. Unlike some of the other things I've mentioned, shock pads aren't a complete waste of money since they will prevent wheel bite like they're supposed to, but I think the idea that they'll actually help with impact is mostly just a sales tactic. With that said, even the most expensive shock pads only cost a couple of dollars, so it's really not the biggest waste of money. I just think that most people are better off without them. Number 6 on the list is a cheap plastic ramp. Almost every skateboarder out there has been unfortunate enough to skate one of these at some point in time, and any seasoned skater out there will tell you that they're a massive waste of money.
I think I hate this ramp.
The ramps are super light, so they slide around really easily, which is not what you want out of a ramp that you're trying to skate. Not only that, but the plastic is notorious for sticking up and catching your wheels, especially after you've been skating it for a while. Even though you might have a few fun sessions where you get to ride off of it and experience what it's like to get a few inches of air,
oh boy, he got air.
I can assure you, eventually your wheels are going to catch. Also, they break really easily, so even if you find a way to keep the ramp from sliding and stop the plastic from sticking up, there's still a chance that your wheel will just break through the ramp while you're skating it. If you want to buy a kicker or some other type of ramp to skate in your driveway, just pay a little more and get a good quality one. I promise you, it's worth the extra money. As far as recommendations go, I recently just got a quarter pipe made by Ramp Tech, and so far, it's holding up way better than any other prefab ramp I've skated. I really like it because it's still a lot more affordable than other options, but it's not so cheap to the point where it breaks after 1 or 2 sessions, which is the main problem that I have with a lot of cheaper ramps. I will say that Ramp Tech is mostly known for their ledges and quarter pipes, but they make pretty much every kind of obstacle you can imagine. They use a high density plastic rather than the thin cheap kind that most companies use. All of the materials are pre-cut to exact dimensions, and they're really easy to put together or move around, which basically solves all of the problems that I have with plastic kickers. This makes them a much better option for someone who wants a ramp that's durable, portable, and weatherproof, but doesn't want to go through the hassle of building one from scratch. I don't want to hype it up too much, but compared to those cheap plastic kickers, they're definitely a way better investment. I'll leave a link to their site in the description if you want to check them out, but regardless of what you do, just please don't waste your money on some cheap kicker from Amazon. The next skateboarding accessory that's a waste of money are nose and tail guards. I just found out recently that these even existed, and it's one of those things that kind of just makes you lose hope. Basically, nose and tail guards are pieces of rubber that you put onto your board to stop it from getting scratched, but it also conveniently makes it way harder to skate since it's virtually impossible to pop your board when they're on. From what I can tell, these are kind of like those things that you put on the corners of furniture when you have kids in your house, except rather than being used to protect kids, these are made to protect your board from getting scratched, even though that's literally what the board was made for. I like to think that most skateboarders would know better than to waste their money on these, but if for some reason you're considering buying it, please just do yourself a favor and spend your money on pretty much anything else. I really do think that there's certain things that you can buy that will help your skating and just make skateboarding more fun in general. With that said, there's definitely a ton of things out there that are complete waste of money, so hopefully this video helps you avoid at least a few of them. If you actually want to buy some things that might help your skating, check out my video on the best skateboarding accessories. I promise the things on that list are way better than the things on this one. If you have any suggestions of your own, go ahead and share them in the comments. Be sure to leave a like on the video, check out my gaming channel linked in the description, and with that said, thanks for watching.